All right, welcome in. Today we're going to be talking about everyone's favorite thing to do, ironing. Yes, and specifically, can you iron neckties? Yes, you can, and I'm going to show you how I do it. A word of warning though, for me, when I iron a tie, if the ironing process somehow ruins it, I was at a point where I couldn't sell it anyway. Because it was so wrinkled. So if it gets ruined, it was already going in the trash pile and I don't care. So I'm willing to risk the ironing process to make it sellable if it wasn't before. So word of warning, if you have a closet full of wrinkled neckties for some reason that you wear on a regular basis, you might want to take them to a dry cleaner or something. I don't know. But I do come across ties that need ironing from time to time. My tips are, if you're thrifting and cherry picking ties, don't buy wrinkled ones. But then I'll say that, and tomorrow you'll go find something really high value that's wrinkled and buy it anyway. That happens. I buy a lot of ties that come in boxes, like 200 ties in a giant box. And even when they take care to place them in there somewhat neatly, I'll still wind up with some wrinkled ones. And for my example ties today, I was at basically a private sale. Someone was selling the contents of a house and they had a bag of ties. And I saw there were a couple sort of equestrian themed ones in there. That's a tip for you on ties. Every tie with horse bit pattern, a horse bit pattern that I've ever listed has sold. Every single one. So equestrian stuff, but particularly the horse bits will sell. So there are ties in there that were left tied. And when you leave ties tied, they get very wrinkled. I'm actually not sure how well the ironing process will help this out. I've used it more on the big end of ties to get creases and wrinkles out, and it's worked well. So let's give it a shot. I'll show you how I do it with pretty good success. Normally, I don't one-off iron a tie. I'll just kind of keep them aside, the ones I want to iron, until I have a pile, and bust it all out at once. So here's what we will need. You will obviously need an iron. You'll need a surface to iron on. I'm using an ironing board, but my mom for years always just put a towel on the kitchen table, and that seemed to work well. And you're also going to need a 100% cotton t-shirt. Now let's go over, let's let our iron heat up, and then let's go over to the ironing board. And while this is heating up, actually, let me tell you, I go max setting, which is cotton, I think on here, cotton, linen. You want to be somewhere up in the steam area. I just go max. If you Google how to iron a tie, a lot of people say to use the silk setting, which mine says nylon silk, which does not produce steam. I tried that a couple times and could not get it to do anything to the tie. I feel like you need the heat and the steam action for this to work. And like I said, warning, you could possibly ruin a tie that you really love, I guess. I've had great success with it. So I recommend going max, get the steam going, and but we're gonna protect the tie with the shirt. So let's cut, let's let our iron heat up, and we'll get over to the ironing board. Okay, so it looks like we got some steam going on our iron. So let's try this first one. I'm going to do the horse bit. It's Brooks Brothers. Now, since I'm focusing on the skinny end that's wrinkled, the tip looks fine. Otherwise, I would lay it long ways. See if I can just get all this on here some way. You want it to be flat, probably just straight across like this. Or all the way long ways if you're not trying to film it. And then you just simply are going to lay your t-shirt flat over it. And I do find if you have wrinkles in the shirt, they'll kind of want to transfer over to the piece you're ironing. So try to get it nice and flat. And then we're just gonna go to town. And I'm not afraid to push down on it. Trying to really encourage that tie to flatten out. And I find that the silk is receptive to that. So let's see if we've made any impact on the tie. All right, where before it was a wrinkled mess, now it is nice and flat. And then I will lay it flat on the end of the ironing board and just kind of let it dry there. There will be a little bit of moisture in the tie from the steam. And then let's get our next one going. And this by the way, was Jerry Garcia, which is fine if you get in a bag of ties especially, but it's a pretty cool looking one. So I thought it was worth trying to iron and save. And we're wrinkled from, really from all the way up here to all the way down here. So we'll have to do this one in two parts. We'll start right here. Lay our t-shirt over it again. Iron is ready to go. And we just go to town. It's pretty easy to feel where the tie is with your hand. I mean, you're not just guessing and ironing a t-shirt 1,000 times. Focus on your piece. Give it a little press. See how it looks. If it needs more, do more. That looks pretty good. I'm going to slide it forward now and get the rest of this skinny end. Goes pretty quick. So if you had a stack of like 10, 20, I mean even 50 wrinkled ties, I think you could bust through them really quickly. Obviously you only want to do this to the ones that are going to be worth listing individually. Wrinkled ties that I acquire that aren't worth listing individually go into a job lot or a craft lot of 50 ties. That's one way I get rid of the lower value ties. I just list them in lots of 50. Do there. And that was really wrinkled. You can see there's still a little crease right there. So if you want to be a perfectionist, you can go back and try to get that out. All right, so leaving the tie tied for a long time is about as wrinkled as you can get one. And, you know, these were pretty trashed before. And I'm going to say, you know, 90 to 95% improvement from where it was. These will photograph well and should be nice and sellable. Even if there's a small amount of waviness or wrinkling on that skinny end, most people aren't going to care because it's where they tie it anyway. The big problem with someone leaving a tie tied and that wrinkling is if you don't tie it in the exact same spot, it can be visible or it can create bunching. It's just not a good look if you're trying to list product for sale to have it all wrinkled. So that is how you iron a tie. I thought I would add this on to the Selling Ties on eBay playlist so you can rescue some of those wrinkled ties and help them find their forever home. Thanks for watching. If you want to learn more about selling ties on eBay, please subscribe and go ahead and like this video.